Going towards the south, we get into what we Greeks call Sterea Elada, means solid Greece, if that means a thing, so let's call it Central Greece. And we will come across places like Pheotida and Atalandi, regions that were making, in the last couple of decades or so, best-selling wines from Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Chardonnay, and recently more differing grape varieties. Parallel to the eastern coastline of central Greece, we have Evia. That is an island. Doesn't look like an island on the map, but it is an island. And it is a very interesting case study for the recent developments of the Greek vineyard. Why? In times past, the people producing wine in Evia were focusing on low quality but huge quantity. But then they started to rethink everything from the start, trying to make better wine but in lower quantities. If someone was asking me to find a blanket term for all wines produced in Evia now, I would struggle to get one. I would possibly come up with great quality. Everything beyond that is complex because Evia is complex. It's an island with a bit of sea around and then very high mountains. We go down to the south and the climate is very close to Aegean Sea island climates, and then we go up to the north and we almost have Macedonian climates. Then we had producers abandoning the fertile plains, going up to the hills to find better plots. The same thing happened with the selection of grape varieties. Yes, we have lovely international wines. I think Syrah here is the undisputed leader, but we have people coming up with lesser known grape varieties or reviving grapes that date back to their ancestors, like Mavrokundura or Vradiano. The quality producers of Evia showed that in order to get a level up or several, you have to select your grape varieties very carefully. You must work on identifying what you have in the old vineyards and also select new plots with high quality potential. If this was the case in Evia, it is also just across the bridge to Viotia, where we have places like the Muses Valley or grape varieties like Asprokundura and Muhtaro. When we reach Viotia, together with nearby Attica, we get to the big guns of Greek wine production, at least in terms of volume. And this sheer volume helps a lot of people jump into conclusions. These areas are producing a lot of wine, so it must be bad wine. Misconceptions run wild, especially for Attica. It's warm climate, so it's not possible to produce good quality wine. The production is mainly Retsina from Sabatiano, so Retsina is bad wine and therefore Sabatiano is a very humble grape variety. Let's try to clear the air for good. Let's start from the climate. Attica is a very diverse region. You can have places like Pendeli Mountain where you're having climates that can be distinctively cool. But then, even in the central part of the wine-growing regions, called Mesoia, producers have been proving that even these hot vineyards can produce lovely wines. Moving then to the grape variety Sabatiano, the most planted grape of the region. Sabatiano was almost the punching bag of all Greek wine. If something was bad about Greek wine, then it was because Sabatiano was a very low quality grape variety. But Sabatiano proved to be an underdog. All these bad wines were bad wines not because they were Sabatiano, but people were paying no attention to the grape either in the vineyard or in the cellar. It took just a handful of producers to prove that Sabatiano can be of prime quality, but they selected their vines carefully, usually old plants, and they paid a lot of attention to what was happening during winemaking. All these people now craft some excellent wines that are exported around the world, and believe that they can age for a decade. Grab a bottle while you can. Finally, we go to Retsina, what some people say was the longest nail on the coffin of Greek wine. And there was truth on that, because there was a lot of bad Retsina made for a number of years, if not a number of decades. But it was bad oxidized Retsina because the wine making was not there. In order to make good wine, including good Retsina, you must select good quality grape varieties, make a modern winemaking, and then select pristine quality resin to add that. People that go through those pains can make some excellent wines. And pay attention to this. Retsina is the absolute food wine. All the Retsina deniers, listen to that. In Greece, we have a quite peculiar way of eating. We're not doing any degustation menus. We have different flavors hitting our table at the same time. So the traditional way of matching food and wine goes out of the window, because this can go nicely with that wine, but the plate standing just next to it is not. So what we're doing, we're not thinking about harmony, we think about contrapunto. We need an intense wine to clean our palate from that bite and prepare it fresh for the next bite. This is Retsina. This is why it's one of the greatest wines Greece has to offer. So if you're enjoying Fino Sherries, please keep in mind that Fino Sherries and Retsinas, good quality Retsinas, are twins separated at birth. So forget what you have been thinking about Retsina and turn yourselves into Retsina apostols. So that's a wrap for the 5th episode of eGREEKwine, brought to you by the Greek Wine Federation. Stay safe, drink in moderation, stay home, and stay tuned for the next one that is going to be Peloponnese.